All right, as you can well tell from the last few days, the weather here in our area can change in an instant. For better or for worse, that can include also how your automobile operates too. What can you do to ensure your safety and your vehicle's roadworthiness? Car expert Jeff Ford from Auto Resto Mod, he is with us this morning again.
Morning.
Good to see you. Thanks.
Good to see y'all too.
Hope you guys had a good Christmas.
We did. Oddly enough, it was a nice Christmas. You know, fill the kids full of sugar, watch them bounce off the walls. It's great.
It's cheap entertainment, I can say.
It really is.
All right, so car health, it's always an important thing here. We spend so much time in our vehicles, our friends, our family, and of course all the other crazy drivers around us.
Yes.
You want to make sure that your car is good to go, especially during the winter time. What are some tips to keep your vehicle roadworthy, especially when it gets cold?
Oddly enough, one of the big things, just make sure your oil's changed. Check your oil whenever you're, going out of town. Before you leave, you don't want to get stranded out on the road. So you want to check the oil on the car first off to make sure that that's good to go. A couple other things for the wintertime, what we got going on right now with the weather. Because South Carolina is so bad about changes in temperature, we'll go from 60s down to the teens. It can affect the air pressure in your tires. So you want to make sure you check the air pressure in your tires before you go out. Before you go anywhere, don't just like go down the road and say, oh, I need to check the air pressure. Before you leave the house, just check it and then add some to it, in a local place to get air in the tires, like for service stations, things like that. A couple other things you need to do, batteries. Oddly enough, cold weather is really bad on batteries.
Right.
If your battery's a couple of years old and you start noticing that it's slow to start, the car is slow to start from what it normally would be, you might want to take it to a service technician and get that checked out, make sure the battery's still in good shape. Lifetime on batteries anymore typically is about 2 to 5 years, 2 being the norm, 5 being something you should probably celebrate with candles. So,
Okay.
Another thing I've seen lately is I've seen some stuff on social media where they are talking about putting hot water on your windshield to clear the glass in the morning.
Right.
If you got frost on the windshield, not a good idea. You're going to bust the glass possibly, and then it's really good for the glass companies, but not so good for you. My recommendation is you can get some de-icing products at the local stores or on the internet to put on the glass to clear it if you have that problem in the morning, or do the other thing and actually get up a little earlier, go out and start the car first, put the defroster on, put the heat on, and then when you get out to the car later, it's a nice toasty warm car and you're not freezing to death driving down the road.
Don't look at me like that, Zana. You said that you get up way too early to do stuff like that. You would pour hot water on your windshield, you said.
Oh, I did that in the past, but again, you learn that's not something you should do.
Very
So
true.
no, recently I've actually been waking up a little earlier and starting my car. Yeah,
She's
this was young Zana, 16-year-old Zana started driving. Let's just put it that way, okay? As you start paying for things in car insurance, you don't want that to happen, okay? Let's talk about some things that you should keep in your car.
Yeah, especially if you're going to be going traveling on the road, and if you're going into the northern reaches of the country in the wintertime, you want to have blankets in the car. Enough blankets for everybody to have a blanket because you don't want the kids in the back seat trying to fight over a single blanket. Ask me how I know. Another thing you don't want to do, and I know that slides and flip-flops are the national shoe of the CSRA, but not in wintertime and not when you're traveling. Wear long pants. Keep warm clothes in the car. If you're not going to do that, just put a jacket in the car with you to make sure you've got some warm clothes. Don't wear shorts. Don't wear slides. It's bad juju, as we like to say at Auto Resto Mod.
Okay, so we're talking about the wintertime here. Let's flip the script here a little bit and go to summertime. Are there things that you should do summertime-wise that you may not want to have to worry about during the winter?
I mean, yeah, again, oil changes are always important. That's the lifeblood of your automobile. So, in the summertime, first thing you do, I usually will put my oil change in a reminder on my phone. Every 3,000 miles, every 3 to 4 months, it depends. With some of the synthetics, you can go a little longer than that.
Right.
Some of them are saying 8 to 10,000 miles on oil changes now. But general rule of thumb is about 3,000 miles for oil changes. Not that anybody does that, but rule of thumb, your oil is best operational at that point.
Right.
That's why they give you the 3,000 mile mark. Make sure your coolant is in good shape. Make sure all your hoses are in good shape. Bursting hoses is a problem both in winter and in summer. If you have a lot of water and don't have enough of the premix, the coolant or the antifreeze in there, it can cause a problem with the water wanting to freeze in the block or freeze in the hoses and break hoses. In the summertime, it's more of a problem if you're stuck in traffic with the hoses actually wanting to pop from it getting too hot. So you want to make sure your cooling system is in good nick whenever you're out there on the road.
You were mentioning tire pressure. Obviously, that's your auto's feet right there.
Yes.
You can have a broken foot every once in a while. Let's talk a flat tire. Make sure you've got a spare.
Yeah, you want to make sure you've got a spare in the car. You want to make sure you know where the spare is at, because that can sometimes be a problem with some of these cars, not knowing where the spare is at. And then also make sure you know how to change your own tire. There's tons of videos on the internet on most automobiles on how to change a tire correctly. So you're going to go out and do a little bit of research and make sure you know how to do that. Another thing to do too is if you're driving down the road or you're at the house and the little U comes on with the exclamation point in the middle of it,
Right.
That's your tire pressure warning. You want, if that's on, that usually means you're at least 5 psi low on tire pressure.
And I'm pretty sure a lot of people have seen that over the course of the last few
Oh,
days
sure.
with the weather, the way it has been.
Yeah,
Actually, just
my
did yesterday.
my stepson's girlfriend, we were out there airing tires up for her the other day because of that. So,
Perfect. Good tips.
thanks.
Jeff, where to go for more information? I know you have lots of videos that you do on YouTube and with your site as well.
Yeah, I mean, we do mostly classic car restoration videos. Great places to go is just go out on the internet and start researching stuff and looking things up. But if you want to reach us, we are at autorestomod.com, autorestomod.com. We're also on YouTube, and we have classic car videos on anything from the late 1950s all the way up through the late 60s.
All right, great. Jeff Ford, thanks for joining us.
Hey, no problem, man.
Have a great New Year.
You too.